Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Hurricane Laura has struck the coast of Louisiana with extreme winds causing flash flooding in the US state. The Category 4 hurricane is expected to cause an unsurvivable storm surge as it moves inland with wind speeds of up to 240 kilometers per hour. If it maintains those speeds, it would be one of the strongest storms to ever hit the American Gulf Coast. 500,000 residents have been told to leave parts of Texas and Louisiana. More than 390,000 homes in Louisiana reportedly lost power, while in Texas, more than 100,000 homes suffered power cuts. The US Vice President Mike Pence has warned that violence will spread in American cities if Joe Biden wins the White House in November.
We've seen violence and chaos.
Amid widening protests over the police shooting of the black man Jacob Blake in Wisconsin, Pence and other Republicans have described the November the 3rd election between Trump and Biden as a choice between law and order and lawlessness at their national convention.
The hard truth is, you won't be safe in Joe Biden's America. And under President Trump, we will always stand with those who stand on the thin blue line, and we're not going to defund the police, not now, not ever.
Meanwhile, numerous athletes have withdrawn from tournaments in protest against racial injustice after the shooting of Jacob Blake on Sunday. In basketball, the NBA has postponed 3 playoff games after the Milwaukee Bucks called off their fixture. In baseball, 3 MLB games have been called off after teams decided not to play, and 5 MLS matches have been postponed. The tennis player Naomi Osaka has also withdrawn from the Western and Southern Open just hours after having booked her spot in the semi-finals. The white supremacist who killed 51 people at 2 mosques in New Zealand last year has been sentenced to life in jail without parole, the first person in the country's history to receive the sentence. The Australian Brenton Tarrant has admitted to the murder of 51 people, attempted murder of another 40 people, and 1 charge of terrorism. The judge has called Tarrant's actions inhuman and has said he showed no mercy. Tarrant's sentencing also marks the first terrorism conviction in New Zealand's history. French Prime Minister Jean Castex has said that the government must move fast to curb a deadly new COVID-19 wave, with infections surging in the Paris region and among young people. France is hoping to avoid a new nationwide lockdown, but the country has been facing a resurgence of new virus infections since July, with an acceleration from mid-August. The government is due to unveil details of the post-pandemic rescue plan to haul the economy out of its deepest slump since World War II next week. Meanwhile, Myanmar has closed schools nationwide as COVID-19 infections have increased there. The country's outbreak has been relatively small compared with other countries in the region, with just 6 deaths and 574 infections so far. But an increase in cases by nearly 35% in just over a week is causing concern. North Korea has been on high alert as Typhoon Bavi has made landfall, dumping heavy rains and uprooting trees after skirting the coast of South Korea overnight, causing some damage. Leader Kim Jong-un has issued an alert to prevent crop damage and casualties as the country guards against the coronavirus pandemic. Heavy rain earlier this month raised concern about food supplies in the isolated country after inundating hundreds of houses and flooding vast rice-growing lands. The Chinese city of Shenzhen has held light shows and other aerial events to celebrate the 40th anniversary of its special economic zone status. Shenzhen is China's first special economic zone, leading the country's reform and opening up. The 4 themed chapters of the light show follow the development course of Shenzhen, chronologically depicting economic and social progress and changing images of the region. 17 dead dolphins have washed up on Mauritius's shore weeks after an oil spill caused a major ecological disaster in the area. The dolphins have been taken to a research centre for an autopsy. In late July, a Japanese bulk carrier ran aground off the coast of the island and began spilling oil a week later. Scientists have said the full impact is unfolding and the damage could affect Mauritius and its tourist-dependent economy for decades. And finally, as Senegal's first female professional surfer, Kaju Sambe has been inspiring the next generation to defy cultural norms and take to the waves. Sambe has been coaching girls from her community, encouraging them to develop the physical and mental strength needed to ride waves and break the mold in a society where many expect them to stick to traditional roles like cooking, cleaning and marrying young. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.